Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. This is ExperiencePoints, and we are back. We're in the heart of the motherland, and we are going to have the mother of all campaign missions as we go to Taifun, which I'm sure will be a load of fun. The hypothetical scenario where the German forces actually take Moscow. And this mission is by far the largest of any of the campaigns, besides those that are made by others in the custom scenarios. But yeah, certainly in for a doozy here. So let's just load this one up, and we shall see what we shall see. I would like to point out this one took a long time to get this finished. We're just gonna point out some features, and I think we might as well do it at the end of the map here just to show how they're relevant. You have different supplies on the road, as you see. The ones that are really going to matter are going to be these supplies on this road here, particularly this path here. In the south here, it won't really matter as much. The enemy has multiple supply points also on the road and in their central Moscow, which is quite difficult. If we have a look, the objectives are mostly in the north. The southern parts don't really have that much of an influence, but we see we have a well, I might have to actually restart this one. But what we have is one at turn 4, turn 7, then in the north 11, in the south 12, and then 14 in the capital. And as you can see, the supply again is just on the roads, and there's not too much else there. It's impossible to really cut off their supply because of the objective. You can do it partially in the south and for the northern objective. So let's get to it. To begin with, I want to look at taking this supply point over here and bring my troops down this way. This road is what's going to really matter. Also, in any attack you do, you have limited numbers and your troops aren't at maximum strength in any of your units, so you need to be very consistent and determined in your attacks. You just can't attack something for its own sake. You can't afford one-to-one losses. So as you see here, I use a special step pioneers to disentrench this trooper here, and then I'm going to cross both of these troops on the river, bring up my motorized, or so I should say German Panzer, and we're going to definitely make a waypoint across here, and these units here are going to make a waypoint here. Over here, I'm going to attempt to smash out here with my armored units, and very important thing to note is I am reorganizing my specialist step pioneer units. They're a complete waste being in infantry units. They are going to go on these dramatically stronger German Panzer units. You can only restep 2 unit parts per turn as well. So it's very, very important the order that you restep things. So don't waste infantry, just get your special steps reordered first. And I'm going to do that for, I believe, 5 or so pioneer units. Over here, my goal is to push my armor units as close to the shore as I can and get everything up into the front lines. I don't want infantry blocking the turn because it just wastes time. The one difference I will make, and we had to replay this multiple times because I come up short, is that, and as I pause this, one armored unit, particularly the German Panzer with a 9.5 attack defense, I'm going to link him up to this road here and have him particularly come up through this way and have a determined unit to attack here. You need to actually put motorized units to attack this or you won't make it in time. So I found that's one of the strategies. Next, I'm just going to leave my units there because I'm a lot stronger than the enemy is, so I'm going to be able to not be attacked if I have strong units there. So I'm not just going to throw away. I do disband this one unit here because I want to reinforce these other units which are at 4s and 5s, and I believe if I give these up to a 6 or a 7, sorry, a 6 or a 7 with a special step, I can do dramatically more damage, as we will see. The second thing I'm going to do, which the game doesn't necessarily feel like you should do, is I'm going to dedicate these armored units, or at least 80% of them, up towards attacking this objective up here. I believe it's important to approach this not only across the river, but from the south of the river as well. Okay, from here my armored units are going to attempt to destroy these defenses in here, link up with the units that are in the south, and we're going to make a run up here towards this way. So I just want to keep pushing through. Again, not wasting attacks, but making sure I'm very specific in what I'm attacking, because infantry will run dry and you can't afford to just throw your men away. Okay, we are jumping around a little bit, but unfortunately this map is so large, you need to do a little bit of that. So just defending my road and my supply source down here. We're going to see if we can't cause multiple breakthroughs. Coming up this way is one. Trying to get pressure onto the river by bringing my men out to here is another, because we're going to eventually want to capture up here. As we approach the south, these units are really wasted down here, but these are going to play their own way, but mostly just trying to link up with here. And if we do try to cut out supply, we need to take the supply source that's over here. Okay, weather does play a considerable role in this. I've always seemed to get severe storms come in around turn 6, 7, 8, which is a nightmare because you can't just rush or Zerg rush the enemy, which you really could in this campaign. Unfortunately, that's just not a possibility. So I want to defend my tank down here because he's quite weak due to his overrun, but he did manage to cause a considerable amount of damage. Over here, we aren't too worried about linking up with the line. We don't need to clear it out. We just need to get these forces up here. So I am trying to clear so that I at least have these guys cleared out, or at least considerably lessened for the next attack. I do want to encircle this because the army supply line for your eastern approach is going to be, as you see, this road here. No one else really digs in. Now this is a lot of... The computer is going to jump around a lot here. To be honest, when this part happens, when I'm playing this game, I just alt-tab out and watch something on YouTube. Because there's nothing really you can do here. The enemy is going to almost move every single unit. So while this happens, we could certainly watch this, but it's quite simple what they're going to do. Reform defensive lines, dig in at certain places, try to hold the forest, pull back, etc, etc, etc. This video is probably going to be about 30 minutes long as well, possibly a lot longer given 219 actions take place. No, sorry, it's a lot more than that. That's how many actions per turn. Wow. There is quite a lot they do. This mission was probably the hardest mission, not in terms of strategy, but rather just because of the intensity. Like, it's literally 3 small campaign missions tied into one, because really you're attacking from your north, you're attacking from the middle, from, like, you could say it's army group north, center, and south, and each does play a role in the objectives. So there is quite a lot to this, and it was very frustrating, like having dismounted a unit from the objective but not being able to take it in turn 12, say, for example. Yeah, it was quite frustrating. So here we are, we're back. I'm putting my panzer units to have the special step. Up north, you can't cross the river if you don't have full supply. Just make that known. So by going here, I'll be able to cross the river, and then after that, come up here. Over here, as you see, I want to clear out the road. It's very important we get our best foot forward, which is our Pioneer Specialist Steps and our German Panzer, as far forward, but we also cover our approaches. So as you see here, we want to make sure they just can't take, say, the supply here, or get in behind and cut off. Up here, I'm trying to use zone of control to sort of negate what the enemy can do, as in put a weaker unit or infantry unit in it, and then I'll try to push my panzers up forward. This is mostly holding. I don't want to engage this line because it's so well defended and have so many bonuses. I'm using my strikes here to dislodge this unit. He has a T-34 special step and he is nasty. But luckily we're able to just to destroy him because of how intense that is. This is where the armory comes up into it. You want to clear out this section and even into here. A storm is coming. Yes, as that famous meme is. But you need to push your armor up because you're only going to be able to get so far before you get bogged down, and then winter comes in, and then you can start moving again. So it's important your initial steps are very well thought out and very aggressive. At least with your motorized, your infantry are more defensive and hold the line as opposed to aggressively taking on other units. You just can't afford to do it. If you do start to, example, disband some of your infantry units, I suggest always putting them into the German motorized because they pack a lot more punch. For example, German motorized is a 4-3 as opposed to a German infantry. Okay, which is a 4-3 as well, but you do have the movement advantage, and German motorized do seem to be the better unit to reinforce. And not all are 4-3. For example, the SS motorized is a 7-5. Oh, and this one here is a 6-4. So some of these German motorized, they are all 6-4. The German motorized is way better in attack and defense values to put, and they take infantry units. So really, you're upgrading your infantry when you reorganize them into German motorized units. I don't know where I read the 4-3 from. Well, yeah, as you go, just keep your lines safe. As long as you've got zone of control, you shouldn't have to really worry. If you go into overrun with your armored units, you've got to keep them protected. And again, I'm sort of throwing away some of these infantry in the south. You can be a little bit more reckless with them. At the same time, disbanding them is a lot better. Though I've already, reorganized. I've already reorganized probably about 5 turns worth of just armor and pioneer specialist steps. But it's always handy. I mean, if you're going to lose a unit, it's got 2 parts to it or 1 part. Definitely reorganize it. So here we are trying to push forward. The enemy will always try to cut your supply, and they're always going to try to hang on the river or just antagonize. Down here is so annoying, and this is going to become obvious because to cut this guy off, you need to take this supply here, but guys come in. You also need to cut off supply from the north, and yet this is a very important hold to take if you want to have your unit supplied out here without having to have this road fully in your control. Though your supply is 8 steps, so this isn't as crucial as you might think, but I still have always dedicated at least 3 units to cutting off and then taking out supply myself. Particularly when the weather kicks in, it just becomes a nightmare to supply units on this side of the river. And yes, they've tried to cut off me from my supply lines in the south there, but what can you do? Okay, this can be that was charming. Over here can be particularly messy if you don't actually take your supply road. It's important that that is yours. So the enemy pulling back here and there. You'll find that there's generally 3 lines of defense, sometimes 4, that you have to smash through. The first line is your initial line, obviously, when you start the game. After that, they will start to pull back and just sort of have a rearguard action. Then they'll start to hold up these river points here and these roads. Your next line will generally be the one closer to your objective, like here, and then it's the actual objective himself that they'll just surround like a moss on a rock. Okay, just a point to note, I'm out of supply up here, but I'm about to take their supply, so they're going to be out of supply up here. Particularly when I rush this with my armor as soon as I can to cut off supply for these units. If you can dissect their lines, i.e. and putting a special step into this armor unit, both these armor units, if you can cut off their supply and starve out an entire line, it makes life so much easier because you're not pushing forward slowly, you're able to be quite aggressive. Okay, I don't know if that was the best move there. I should have probably moved him and then attacked, because if he moved up, I would have been in trouble. So keeping our supply line safe, and again, we can starve this unit out. I don't want to be aggressive if I don't have to. So next we're moving up here. If we can get a free shot or weaken up this objective, that's great, because we have to take it by turn 4. I have taken this on turn 3 before, but you can take it by turn 4 and still have a chance for a brilliant victory here. But our units from the south, as you see, are doing a wonderful job. They're also able to put a lot of aggression on that unit that holds the bridge, this unit here, and we can hopefully destroy this unit, get a foothold on the river crossing, and then also expand the units that we have up there. There is going to be a line of units that try to defend here, and this is going to become annoying later on, because you have to defend your entire line. The south is generally okay. A unit or two might come in, but they really congregate in the north. As you see here, I'm not just attacking anything, I'm letting them go, because if I attack, well, they can't really hit me without major penalties and major destruction to stay on their own units, but I can't hit them without also really wrecking my own units. So I don't want to just attack to get it out, because it's just going to cost me way too much here. Okay, so we are making considerable ground inland, and I really think now the weather's probably going to smack us next turn or the turn after. Winter is coming, and it's going to make this war very difficult. So now we're crossing over. This horseman is going to be great for just trying to get straight into here. As you get bogged down, it's sometimes better to go around, even though the terrain on the river here, because of the forest, is a lot more difficult to take. Trying to get across this river as soon as you can is important. So at least in the next step, my German, my SS motorized, which is almost good as a German Panzer unit, will be able to cross and force that, which will be quite nice. As you see, out of supply here, they did cut me off down here, so I should link up with that supply, but I want to be pushing north. That's the goal for these units. Link up with the north. This unit here is quite nasty and can be a real pain if only infantry are attacking it. So it's important to note that one. He's considerably a considerable challenge there. Now I am in trouble here if I can't resupply. So, well, there we go. Might be okay here. Over here, it's going to be that problem of being out of supply, being in supply, being out of supply, being in supply, because these guys will keep just trying to swing around. Okay, so I do imagine, and these guys will continually use prestige, or rather use the reinforcements that come available to them, and trying to cut you off. It probably would have been better if I destroyed this unit here to keep my supply up, but it looks like it's okay. Okay, so they're just now generally falling back. Oh, that's good. He's not going to stop that supply line. And as you see, there's a perfect example. He attacked me and lost 4 unit parts. I only got suppressed 2. So I did considerably well at holding my own in there. Which means your lines can really hold. And in some circumstances, you're best just to starve them out. At least there's no partisans ability. If they had that in this level would be a nightmare. To the point of I just wouldn't play it. The only equally difficult level to this one is in the scenarios when you play as the Soviets, and you have the, I think it's called the January Offensive, and you need to repel the Axis forces, and virtually it's a game of just starving them out, because you don't have the numbers or the unit strength to win with forces outright. At least on this, being Axis, you have the advantage in better graded units with higher stats. Okay, as you see, the weather's now moved in, and aren't we in for a bit of a nightmare? I am trying to clear this out in the south there. In the north, you see my units coming out of supply, but so are theirs. I've captured this. I'm going to keep him there because I don't want them retaking it. I'm also going to be able to cross the river next turn. Hopefully, if these people aren't completely out of supply. So this guy needs to be resupplied if that's going to happen. Then these units can make their way up to here. Though it's always generally a motorized unit which cuts off supply in these hexagons here. But yes, keep going. clear out the supply line. We aren't going to engage these units. We're just going to hold them till we can starve them, and then we're going to be aggressive from that. The river is going to hold the southern flank, so that's going to be fine. And because we have good weather, we can really aggressively move our infantry up and clean out a few units here. Again, our supply is 8 hexagons, so we're doing really well here. Just moving our infantry up. We're getting some good attacks. Okay, it's quite nice. Not taking any real heat. And we should be able to get rid of some of these nasty units that are going to threaten our supply lines. So moving up our panzer units are in the rear flank because we want to make sure that we can move the ones that are in the forward flank further forward there. Getting some nice overruns with his panzer unit. As you see, he's doing a tremendous job. He certainly deserves a medal. Now we have to take this objective here. It's time to take him, so definitely using my airstrikes. Bringing my back units forward, breaching him. And this is where your second choice comes in. How many units do you send or motorized units you send to your north? Now, if you only use these units to attack here, you're going to be struggling across the river. If you attack and dedicate units from your motorized and panzer up to here, you can actually destroy these units, cut them off, and make your way up to here. And this is what you need to do. You also need to dedicate other units to aggressively advancing on this supply line and attacking here. And then using these units to hold this objective here, and then you cut off supply. So this hexagon here, then you cut off supply for all these units in the south, because the weather really goes into your advantage. I always hold a unit of relatively high strength in the objective, because it can be a bit of a pain. If you don't put units up into the north as well, they're going to meet you and head to the south. So I want to clear this out, and I want to make a determined effort there. Okay, we have some weak units which are crossing the river, but they're a body that's at least going to be used to hold the supply line. So that's why I am not reorganizing these units. Also, you have a significantly lessened attempt at reorganizing, so there's no point just throwing units away that you're only going to get 10 turns later. As you see, they're cut off as well, so at least they're weak, but they're holding the line, and that's the point of them. Okay, so now I've got my armor special steps. We're putting reinforcements into our forward armor units up in the north. There's enough armor strength in the south for them to deal with their own. I am aggressively attacking this unit because he is the biggest threat in the south, and he has caused major problems to me in previous gameplays. Okay. It's quite nice. We are jumping all over the place here. Sometimes the strategy requires that, but you want to make sure every move unit that can move is. Okay. Again, more units showing up. A lot of horsemen and cavalry are going to come over here and make this objective a lot harder to get. Okay, so again, they fall back, create new lines, try to cut off units. Much of the same. And as you see, trying to cut off that German panzer unit up here, but they can't attack it, it's suicidal. And they're trying to head into the south to block my advance and defend their river line. I should say, they use the river to the west to protect the west flank, and yet keep me from approaching and cutting off their forces up here. Which is a repeated strategy. The great thing about this game is the strategy that the enemy employs is relatively similar. Your threat can determine where particular units do go, but it's never particularly sporadic, which is great because it gives you the edge that you need to be able to actually win this game. Okay, so the weather's cleared up. That is a awesome, tacular thing right there. So we're in the south in a mild patch, and we can now quite aggressively deal with this and move forward here. So we're crossing the river. As you see, even though this guy is clearly out of supply, he's holding him off and will stop him from resupplying. So we can make sure in this turn we're going to make sure our supply lines are perfectly secure, and we're going to aggressively push to the river with our armored units up in the north here. So this is going to be a very productive turn. There you go, clear out that city, which was going to be quite an annoying stronghold, and I'll swap a 1 for 1 there. That's okay. We want to get rid of him and make sure he can't really do much. As the missions progress, the infantry do lessen in their value, and this mission always really is about motorized and panzer units, but infantry do initially hold a lot of value in holding supply lines and advancing forward and keeping your spearheads safe. So here we go. Nice, we're connecting that Southern Army unit up with the Northern Forces. They can have a bit of a howdy doody. And say hi. Okay, now I'm trying to push through here because we're going to be able to cut off supply, and we're holding our units quite well. Okay, I have to get this on turn 7, but we're going to start weakening it up now. We breached him. We didn't get a retreat, which was unfortunate. At least, and here you see the perfect example of pioneers working with armor to devastating effect in the enemy forces there. Okay, keeping that supply line safe, and now moving our infantry up. Shame I couldn't get a unit up here. I don't believe this unit possibly, he couldn't have moved, which is unfortunate. But if he would have crossed the river, it would have made killing him a lot easier. Okay, as we now try to link up on the supply line and clear this out, because we don't want to waste motorized units doing this. I'd rather use infantry to make sure that this is all ours. Okay, now we should be able to link up with our German comrades up on this line here, and all these units should now become effective. Here we go. And that was quite nice, really speeding our armor, convert attack points into movement points, and speed units up. Really want to be quite aggressive in my movement because the weather is fine and we can really move. Okay. Wasn't so important that I clear this out because I have supply from this road in here, as you can see, but just trying to clear up these units because they are quite a hassle. Now we can do minor damage, and taking this objective is 1 point, but again they are just going to come down here, cut me off, starve this unit out. So in the south it's always really finicky. Okay, so we have full suppression on these units down here, which is lovely. We'll be able to destroy them with really weak units. They couldn't take the city, which was quite nice. And our armor columns are really holding that line. So we have a almost a broad front here, which they can't engage, and we can aggressively assault up. Yep, in the south they're cutting off all my supply for these units. So I have to pull back, destroy that unit. It always just feels messy down there, unfortunately. Problem is, when you do come into attacking up here and it's all weathered out, you just don't have supply. So mostly you're supplying units across one axis of attack here or coming down from the north. Okay, so we can really damage that guy up there, but I'm still going to keep it here so we can't resupply. And now we're just going to clear out. These infantry are going to quite aggressively finish off these units up here, or at least still contain them. So that's quite nice. Moving our armor up, getting rid of this fella because he's going to be a lot harder to dislodge than him, though he will just retreat across the river and take his place. It's funny, but at least we can now cross again. So that worked out quite nice. He's attacked him. As you see, we're holding that side of the river. Perhaps it would have been better if I did come across. And I have kept him with his Pioneer Special Step, but I have kept him strong. So that's the one unit that I have kept there. Though it would be better if this unit here had a Special Step. You do need Pioneers to dislodge the enemy here from the objective because they're so well entrenched. Okay, infantry now just strolling in with the enemy because we want to clear out, or at least starve out. Nice strong line of offense right there. That's unfortunate, but should be able to get rid of this unit. That was a shame. Okay, so that was quite nice. Again, aggressively advancing forward. If I have the overrun, I'm going to use it. Put in infantry here because we are going to... it doesn't matter if we lose this. We still have one more turn until we officially have to hold it. So I'm going to drive my armor forward to put pressure on it so the line isn't right on the objective, but the line is a hexagon or two off. This river and this bridge plays a key part, but particularly this line here. This is where I'm really going to get the hurt in. And if I can cut off supplies, 2 supply points in the south, we can cut off this entire southern force, because the weather in here will stop the supply point over here being of any use. Okay, so you do have access strength units, but you're using Soviet tactics in certain points of cutting off units from supply and winning by starving them out. Okay, infantry doing a nice little job clearing out. Even though it's costly, we still want the armor to come forward. And it's a shame I couldn't cross the river there. It would have made life so much easier in the next turn. Quite nice. The weak unit's doing their part. And yep, he's going to be destroyed, but again, I'm not going to waste a turn of armor attacking to really take out these units. And my infantry here are great at just holding. My armor won't get distracted. They can shoot straight up. Though they will attempt to probably cut me off here. That's where infantry will just hold the line. Okay. So there we go. There's an example where I had to use armor to attack infantry to hold them. And they're still probably going to cut me off, but I still have the range, so I'm not overly worried. Oh, there we go. I solved that problem. So what are we doing back here? Same deal. Pull back, retreat. It's just frustrating. There must be a better way to do this part down here. But my tactics have been to include this and take this as part of my overall strategy. Okay, so now I want to weaken up this unit here. Any damage I can do as we begin to move in. We have to take in by turn 11. So suppression, whatever I can do. My infantry will be in range to attack next turn if the weather is good. So it's quite nice. Again, they fall back. And we get more defensive lines to have to deal with, more threats to our supply from the south over here. But again, this is really manageable. We have in the north our Great Open Plains, if the computer doesn't just shoot me off. But as you see, no units are really defending up there. We have a good advantage just to aggressively launch our units forward to take that turn 11 objective. Okay, now armor is definitely needed for this southern objective on turn 12. That's not something that you can really miss out on. It's key. Now, the weather has kicked in, as you see. Nasty. And this is going to bog these units down dramatically. But as you see, we advanced, though our attack power now is greatly diminished, and we can't really pack a great punch. But at least in the north here, we can dedicate a lot of forces and supply up our troops here because of these 8. So we're clearing out supply lines, moving our infantry forward. Little tongue-tied there. And keeping our lines secure. But as you see, we're pretty safe here. These units that are lagging behind now can start to be reorganized. I don't know how effective they'll be, but we at least, and we can't check that out on replays, order of reinforcements. But we can always see that they can keep the supply line in the rear guard held, while the forward is defended. And there we go, just topping up these units because they're a 9.5 as opposed to an 8.4. So these are your priority units. You just ban a German Panzer and you can reinforce much stronger units, which is quite nice. Okay, want to aggressively push up through here. Important to note, if you take, because of their supply, if you take, let me just pause that, this here and this road, you effectively cut off supply for these units down here, because their supply is an 8 here, that's a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. As you see, the weather really works in your advantage in that situation. So that's quite nice. We're moving our infantry up, trying to get infantry across the river, try to get some presence. This river is a pain, and when the weather comes in, you can't go around in an easy fashion. Okay. Over here, I made a mistake. I should have crossed the river and then attacked. So that was my error there. And that was quite unfortunate because I would have packed a significantly larger punch if I did that in a correct fashion. There we go, trying to clean up this, keep our supply going forward because the weather is going to make life, as you see, considerably harder. Or maybe the supply comes up to about here. It only loses 2 steps per turn. Infantry, important here, just cleaning up, keeping this safe, and I don't want to tie up these units. I want to get rid of the enemy units, get these units up in the north. We still have a little bit of clear weather so we can move up, at least in a nice enough fashion. I like overrun, it means you can convert your attack points into movement points as well. Okay, just cleaning up any sort of threat in the south as much as we can, though the line only matters up around here. And we pull this unit back, but he'll be out of supply, which is unfortunate. Okay, so they've had a hard time down in the south. Okay, it's okay if they take this and surround them, because again we can still attack next turn, and we are going to aggressively assault them. They've done something quite silly. They've chosen to push forward and surround me while losing the bonus protection of the forest and their entrenchment, and I'm going to take full advantage of that. You see, out of supply, quite dangerous for these units because we're going to really capitalize on that. Yeah, and that's where, right here is where I pay. I didn't force that unit out. I don't know if I could have put anything in that place, but this unit isn't as damaged as it could be. So they're going to really try to hold that river, which is why I definitely wanted to cross. Okay. So we're doing quite well. We don't have any objectives we have to take too soon, so we're sitting kind of pretty. And the weather got even worse. But up here, and how's that? 3 turns early. They're reorganizing these back units. They're in the far back. There was no use to them. So we took this without any strife, and that was quite wonderbar. It was wunderbar. Which is awesome. Now just moving our infantry forward, taking more zone of control into our area so we increase our supply. A little bit better though. Again, the range is significantly dampened. Reorganizing these and putting some of the strong units forward. And I believe I've reorganized all that I can still reorganize units to get them out of the way, but units in the back now, their use is really running low. Yeah, as you see, the weather is really giving them a massive defense bonus because I took out 1 unit part instead of like killing the entire unit. Okay. Nice front, making sure there's a unit on the objective because you don't want to do something silly. Because if they take it back now, then I've lost that objective completely and have to restart. But nice clear weather up here, and we are going to really take advantage of that. And there you go. A nice little aggressive attack there, and we can start causing a lot of threat here, which is going to be quite wonderful. And we can also start to really make an impression on the city. Okay, so well, we suppressed 1 part, but yeah, that was unfortunate. Still, if the weaker unit was going to do something, I was happy for it to take that loss. Now, attacking across the river, because we want to get threat in the southern area. Though our main branch of attack will come across here, and up from the north, I'm going to drive my unit straight down. Okay, keeping that supply secure. Move our units up. I'm not worried about them shooting that way, because they just won't. The AI wants to be supplied, and they want to... ooh, that was costly, but worth it. You see, unfortunately, this unit was completely desupplied. If I put him next to here, he'll actually come out and destroy these units, because the AI is really intelligent in the... If I can kill something that's really significantly strong, because it's completely suppressed and out of supply, then I will, even though it loses its entrenchment. And more units come in. It's like a never-ending Soviet reinforcement dance. Fortunately, this unit will be able to supply and unable to attack next turn, which is a dramatic shame. But I don't think there's anything I could have done about that. So now they're trying to really hold that river. If the weather was clear, I could probably destroy him, bring him across, destroy him, bring him across, destroy him. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. Okay. So now they're like their fourth line of defense. So this is what they keep doing. What I like to do is just push everything across here. So the weather, yeah, not that great, but I'm moving this unit off because there's no chance of him getting past him, and I'll be able to destroy him next turn. So I probably should have kept him on there. He won't be effective for anything else. Okay. Now we just want to aggressively push up. See, with clear weather, we are doing significant amounts of damage, which is really lovely to see. And we are able to have a good line of infantry. Though they are quite unable to move, unfortunately, due to the weather. But we're able to clear out this zone of control. Which is nice. I am reinforcing this unit because it's got the special step, and it is also close to the front line. And it's going to play quite a good use. Though I could have reinforced this unit here, which would have also been a good way to go. Okay, so there we go. We're starting to weaken up attacking the city, but I want to keep the supply going. Even if he crosses the river here, I should have the range on my supply to keep these guys going here. And green infantry are just like, when they meet panzers, it's like, how many things can you kill? No matter what special step they have. Over here, I just starve this unit out. I do not attack them because they're too well entrenched and they're too difficult to dislodge. Okay. So, we're advancing quite well. We've aggressively taken some objectives, and quite early. I think 2/3 of the objectives have been taken significantly early there. Just to point out over here, the supply line issue is quite great here. As you notice, the weather makes this 2 less. So instead of this being a, what are we going from? Instead of this being an 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you see we've got a 1 here. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. This is a shame, and this is why this road matters and why I'm messing around down here, because we need to keep supply up so we keep some sort of threat here. Otherwise they'll just sort of gung-ho and triple layer this, and it makes it a lot harder to break through. But at least this way we can eventually have a significant presence to get in. And airstriking this because I want to do whatever damage I can, and what, 5 suppression there was quite a brilliant result. As you see, these units cut off, which was quite nice, and they're going to be just prime target next turn. So I don't want to waste a Panzer unit attack on them if I'm not going to get an overrun. Okay, so this is quite nice. We have 3 turns to take the southern objective and 5 turns to take Moscow. So we're doing really well, and the enemy units are moving so much less. So yay, we don't have to worry as much. I do want to put this guy back in supply so I can reorganize him, just for the point of having him reorganized. There we go, nice and aggressive, and that Panzer unit is just absolutely awesome. I'm clearing out zone of control in the south. Because I couldn't move him any further, it was just best to attack with that unit. Again, maybe if you wanted to reorganize a special step into another armor unit that was going to be effective up in this area, then that might have been a suggestion for your own playthroughs. But I've kept this unit super strong, and I'm okay with him still being a special step, or having the Pioneer. Okay, I'm doing wonderful here. He crossed over, but as you can see, I still had supply, so no problems there. And we absolutely crushed him. Okay. This is looking quite nice. We've got clear weather, and it looks like the snow has come in, and snow is really easy to fight in. The penalty isn't there as with the storm. weather, keeping my objective safe. Even if they can't move, I still don't want to chance it. So that's where infantry come in quite well. And we weren't able to kill that unit. 3 attacks. Quite dramatic. Okay, taking advantage. We can't move that much, so we're just going to move what we can. Panzer units are generally only 3 parts strong, are on the verge of being relatively weak, so it's just being mindful of that and being really careful. Now, I probably should have kept attacking here instead of this unit, but I figured I wanted to push through with my army units as best I could. Unfortunately, I had to cross back across the river, so anyway, I could keep moving up. So this is where the weather plays havoc. Otherwise, I could have completely annihilated these units. But at least they can only re-step, what, 1 part by the look of it? Per turn, or is it 2? So my strikes and strafes still did something. Yeah, it looks like 2 parts per turn. Oh well. Keeping a bit of pressure on the units in the south. The units, now, it's a bit silly you didn't go there, but I can understand. But my armor's just going to cross next turn. Okay. Now it clearly froze over. The storm's gone. We can basically just crash forward. Crash through the enemy lines. Use our infantry to cause what havoc we can. Push forward. Yeah, probably should have gone up there with this unit. But I knew the engineer or pioneer special step would do me wonders anyway. So what are we doing? Look at that. First attack. We've breached him. We've really weakened him up. As you see, double veteran, full strength with pioneer special step. That's how you're going to have to take this unit and this city. And I think I wasted my strafing here. I've only got 1 turn after this to take this objective. So I'm going to dedicate my armor, my really strong panzer units here. This can take this with no hassle. My units are coming south now. They absolutely have to. Because I need to divert units up. And this is what gets worrying, because if you don't have the strength and numbers, you can do all that effort and even take Moscow, but lose out here. So I got right next to the objective, which is fantastic. And we have a northern and a northwestern approach for attack, as well as the western, which at least should draw off 1 or 2 units. So it's relatively favourable in how this looks like it's going. Yep. Couldn't attack this unit because of the weather. Okay, so over here I'd like to cut off this guy. This unit's goal over here actually was to take this, but now it's just going to be no effect. As you see, you can take this, but once it freezes over, I have even once managed to take this, like take this part really early, get up here and take this, and then cut all these guys off. That's not overly necessary. I think just to point. So if we do point out down here, it hasn't really been all that beneficial. We've drawn off 1 or 2 units, but down here it doesn't feel like it's gone the best it could. And I think there is another strategy which I haven't discovered for using those units, or just ignoring the situation to begin with. As you see, with this mission, we had to take all the pioneer special steps off the units I originally were on. And I've tried keeping it, the pioneers on infantry units. Unfortunately, when you do, you can lose them. And you can lose them in really simple ways, which is quite scary and such a waste for them, because they're such powerful units. Okay, there's not much the enemy can do. They should have resupplied the unit in the city on the objective. That was a bit silly. Oh well, they're communists. They seem to be silly. Okay, that was good. We got took out the defensive bonus on the city, and we desupplied them. So as you see, all those suppressions previously did wonders. Now I'm getting a little bit worried, because I can move these units in and out without any hassle, which is good. I haven't been able to destroy them yet. So here we go. Could I move it? I wasn't sure, but there we go. I took out zone of control and I had the unit to move it, and that was such a relief. Oh my goodness. As you can see down here now, we are basically just going to finally, in the end, resupply and keep these guys supplied up. But yeah, such a waste of manpower and time. And they didn't really play any part in this battle. But there you go. See, disbanding that unit at the start, and not disbanding, reorganizing the armored infantry unit so I could increase these units, it's just essential. Then putting special steps on them and made all the difference. Over here, I'm taking no chances, so I'm throwing everything I can that doesn't weaken this unit. I want as much pressure off this unit as I can. I do not want them taking this back, and that was worrying me, so I just threw everything I had at their forces, knowing that I was going to always be able to weaken them up. The other thing I was deciding was just taking their objective. So I still could attack here, but I was like, oh, what the heck, it's just take it, and there we go. So we took it 2 turns early. 2 turns early! Aha, and then we took Moscow, and we still had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units which could have engaged it. Deep breath, but that's how it's done. So, quick overview, as we do. And how many turns was that, like 1,500 or something? These units up here are going to take the supply point up here, and they're going to push down. Eventually contain these units, but cut off supply and then push up this way. Over here, destroy, push him off if you can, get units up here. This unit comes along here. Most infantry weaken up here, and then get these units to the front line, to cross over here, come up here, and then use meet up with these units here, which will, all of them but 2, I generally take up this way. Disband this unit so that you can better supply out them. Reorganize, not disband, reorganize, sorry. Reorganize specialist step, put them on your armor, and on these stronger 9-5 units. Don't waste your time on these 8-4s. Also, some of your German motorized has different strengths. See 6-4, 6-4, but the SS is 7-5, so take a note of that. One of these heavy armor units comes up here and helps smash out them. Then these units progress this way. These units come in here, join it with here, smash this, come up here, smash this, come through. Then you send some armor units up to clear out this. Then these armor units can join up with, and you can feel it out whether they come up here, or these units go this way or this way. But you need to dedicate armor for taking this out. Over here, all these units come up here, take this out, secure the supply line with infantry, come up this way, attack aggressively through here, and by that time you can bring units down and attack here. These units down here, and what to do with this is up to you. I don't believe it's good engaging this. But then again, I don't know whether I'd want to take that supply, but I don't think it really matters because your supply up here is what matters as opposed to down here. So maybe just convert everything up here, help you smash through. So that's how it's done. This is the Mother Mission in the heart of the motherland. Oh my, it is intense, but I'm going to call it a day right there and say happy hunting. It's so possible. Armor is the key. Put your special steps on your armor. And try again. Use the weather. When it's good, push and push hard, even if you're out of supply for one step and you can get resupplied the next. That's how it's done. This has been Experience Points. I am exhausted because this one was so tough. But I hope you gained some experience from watching this, and happy hunting for your own brilliant victory with no prestige use. Ta-ra.